I am the fucking hardest hustler in the world. This is Savage Part 2. Don't tell me about shit. It's 2022 and I'm still a savage. Whatever I want, I get. Whatever I want, I fucking get.
Someone said it right. What you sow is what you reap. Music mogul P. Diddy's trial isn't just another courtroom drama. It's the trial of the season, the fall of a hip-hop king, the crumbling of a billion-dollar empire built on fame, fear, and whispered secrets. But now, as the world watches, one question echoes. Will the truth finally come out? Will justice finally knock on Diddy's door? Welcome back to Never Ending Celebrities. May 5th, 2025, the courtroom air felt thick because after years of whispers, settlements, and buried headlines, the trial of Sean Diddy Combs had finally begun. Cameras weren't allowed inside, but that didn't stop the world from watching every single move. Jury selection started early. 8 men and 4 women now held the weight of a cultural giant's fate in their hands. Diddy had pleaded not guilty to serious charges, racketeering conspiracy, sex trafficking, and the transportation of women for prostitution. If convicted, he could spend the rest of his life behind bars. Then came the opening statements, and they didn't hold back. Assistant U.S. Attorney Emily Johnson stepped up first. She told the jury that Diddy ran a secret criminal ring with a loyal inner circle who helped him commit crimes and then cover them up. Johnson dropped bomb after bomb. She said Diddy forced his then-girlfriend, Cassie Ventura, into sex with male escorts, filmed it, and kept the footage to use as blackmail. She described twisted events known as freak-offs, multi-day nightmares where women were allegedly drugged and pushed into sex acts that they never agreed to. The prosecution would lean heavily on 2 women, Cassie Ventura and another woman who will testify under the pseudonym Jane. But the defense fired back. Diddy's attorney, Tenny Geragos, didn't sugarcoat it. She admitted Diddy had a violent past. She even said that the 2016 video showing him assaulting Ventura was indefensible. But she drew a clear line. Domestic violence, she argued, is not sex trafficking. Geragos warned the jury that they'd hear things that'd make them feel uncomfortable about Diddy's sexual life, his habits, his kinks, but she reminded them that they weren't there to judge him for that. She said Ventura had made choices. She stayed for 11 years. She left on her own. She claimed wasn't the story of a trafficking victim. It was the story of a complicated relationship. The first witness took the stand, Officer Israel Flores. In March 2016, he was working security at the Intercontinental Hotel in Los Angeles. He testified that he received a call about a woman in distress. When he arrived, he saw Diddy and Cassie in the elevator lobby. He said he escorted them back to their hotel room. But what happened next was horrific. Flores said Diddy approached him with a thick wad of cash. A bribe, he thought. He refused it, and hours later, he saw Cassie leave the hotel with a purple eye. He filed an incident report, but never called the police. There was no victim, he said. Nobody was pressing charges. That's when Daniel Phillip came in, a man who managed male strippers for high-end clients. He testified in 2012 that he was paid to sleep with Cassie. Diddy sat in the corner, watching, directing, recording, always with baby oil. He even took a photo of Phillip's driver's license, for insurance, he claimed. Phillip believed it was a threat. He also shared a terrifying memory. He once saw Diddy drag Cassie by her hair into a bedroom. He didn't tell anyone because he was scared. Scared he wouldn't make it out alive. As the day came to a close, the courtroom emptied, but the tension didn't fade, because the next day, Cassie Ventura takes the stand, the woman at the center of it all. The world was watching, and Diddy would be too. May 6th, 2025, the moment the courtroom had been bracing for finally arrived. The government calls Cassandra Ventura. A tense hush fell over the court as Cassie, aka Cassandra Ventura, walked into the witness stand. Visibly pregnant and in her 3rd trimester, she moved with a composed grace, brown dress draped over her body, eyes steady ahead. For the first time in over 6 years, she and Sean Diddy Combs shared the same space, and yet no words were exchanged, no glances, only the clatter of courtroom footsteps and the unsettling stare of a man accused of destroying her life. This was the moment prosecutors had been preparing for. Cassie, referred to as Victim 1 in the indictment, was the emotional and evidentiary core of the case. Over 4.5 hours, she told a terrifying, detailed story, and she would return the next day to continue. Cassie began with the past, how she met Combs when she was just 19. She signed with Bad Boy Records in 2006, launching a platonic mentorship with the charismatic mogul that soon evolved into a romance. They went public in 2012, split in 2018, but those headlines were a blur compared to what lay underneath. She wanted to be around Sean for the same reasons as everyone else at the time. Just this exciting, entertaining, fun guy that also happened to have her career in his hands. Soon, she said, she was his shadow, traveling with him everywhere, falling in love. But behind the luxury was control, extreme control. He controlled everything, from the way she looked, to what she did, to who she spoke to. His mood swings led to physical assaults. If she made the wrong face, next thing she knew, she was getting hit. He'd also punish her by kicking her out of the homes he paid for, or ordering staff to confiscate her belongings. He would smash in her head, knock her over, drag her, kick her, stomp her in the head if she was down. Her injuries ranged from swollen foreheads to busted lips and bruises all over her body. Asked how often it happened, too frequently. But the most disturbing portion of her testimony came when she described the freak-offs. What began early in their relationship, Cassie said, became regular, even scheduled. Combs would watch her have sex with male escorts while he pleasured himself. It started as a fantasy, but turned into a near-weekly obligation. It was his fantasy. He was controlling the whole situation, directing it. Each freak-off involved 2 to 3 sessions, sometimes stretching over days, involving 3 or 4 men. Cassie often used narcotics and alcohol, given by Diddy or his staff, to disassociate. Recovery took days. Eventually, she said, the freak-offs became a job. She felt disgusted, as she said, and started crying. She was humiliated. She didn't have the words to put together at the time how horrible she really felt. Then came the incident in 2016, the one captured on security footage and played 5 times in court already. Cassie recounted how a freak-off turned violent. She wanted to leave. Diddy didn't. In the hallway of a luxury LA hotel, he assaulted her. She eventually fled barefoot while he showered. That video, now seared into public memory, wasn't a one-off. He beat her like that too many times to count. The prosecution pressed her on the logistics of the freak-offs, tying it to their larger case of organized criminal conduct. Cassie testified that Diddy's staff were involved, booking hotel rooms, providing baby oil, condoms, Astroglide. When supplies ran low, they called hotel staff or assistants. Escorts were paid in cash, up to $6,000, and their travel was arranged by Diddy's travel agent under the pretense of new staff. She was instructed to keep their real identities hidden. When federal agents raided Diddy's properties last year, they found over 1,000 bottles of baby oil. Cassie explained why. If he felt like you were too dry, he'd let you know. He wanted them glistening. One time, she recalled, there was even a kiddie pool filled with oil. Hotels were often trashed after these events, and it was the staff's job to clean up. Cassie remembered overhearing Diddy's team dealing with angry hotel managers asking for damage payments. The defense argued that this was all consensual, an extreme but legal sex life which took a hit when Cassie spoke about fear. Diddy, she testified, controlled her completely, her wardrobe, her job, her money, her sense of safety. The defense also claimed jealousy as a motive, pointing to Diddy's other girlfriends. Cassie admitted she was insanely jealous. I didn't get that he was Puff Daddy, and Puff Daddy has many women, she said. He made her feel as if they were in a monogamous relationship, but she had to figure out, painfully, that they weren't. Earlier in the day, the court resumed with the continued cross-examination of Daniel Phillip, the male stripper who had testified the day before. He repeated that he'd been paid by Diddy to have sex with Cassie while Diddy watched, often directing them and sometimes recording. On one occasion, Philip said Cassie seemed slumped over, and Diddy stepped in, saying they'd stop. The courtroom fell into an uneasy silence as Cassie took the stand for what would become nearly 20 hours of terrifying testimony. Cassie began discussing the deeply personal book she wrote in 2023, which detailed her life and her survival. She had sent the manuscript to Diddy through a lawyer, attaching a price tag of $30 million for the rights. She didn't really do any research, she just picked a number that she felt would alert him. But instead of acknowledgement or dialogue, she received silence and no compensation. A few months later, in November 2023, she filed a lawsuit. Within 24 hours, it was settled for $20 million, but no sum of money could bury the trauma. Cassie broke down in tears, recounting her stay in rehab and trauma therapy in 2023. The wounds were embedded in her psyche. She was suicidal. A routine music video shoot had triggered flashbacks so intense she knew she needed help. Even after their relationship ended, Diddy's threats stayed. In 2019, he messaged her, "If it was you, I would get me my money." He was referring to Alex Fine, Cassie's now husband, and once her personal trainer, hired by Diddy himself. "You will not be threatening me," that's what he said next. In August 2018, she agreed to meet Diddy for dinner in Malibu, what she believed would be a conversation for closure. Instead, she alleged, Diddy raped her in her living room. She wasn't even sure if he noticed her tears. And then came the bombshell about Kid Cudi. During a freak-off in 2011, Cassie said Diddy discovered she was dating the rapper. Enraged, he threatened both of them. According to her, Diddy said he'd blow up Kid Cudi's car, which, not long after, exploded in his driveway. A spokesperson for Cudi confirmed the account. This is all true. Cassie also recalled placing a large knife in her door handle during that time, fearing Combs's unannounced visits. "Kill two birds with one stone. Lock it and have a weapon," she told the jury. Prosecutors displayed a photograph of that very knife. Drug use was usual throughout their relationship. Cassie testified that she was heavily dependent on opiates, which she often took with Diddy. She attempted rehab multiple times, but the cycle was relentless. She only broke free in 2022. The abuse wasn't limited to her. Cassie recounted witnessing Combs strike a friend in the head with a wooden hanger when he discovered they were about to do drugs. She saw him punch an employee in the head. On another occasion, she testified, he dragged his assistant Mia out of bed and onto the deck for resisting him. At her own apartment, she said he held her friend over a balcony railing before throwing her onto patio furniture. One night in 2011, Diddy allegedly attacked Cassie after discovering emails between her and Kid Cudi. He lunged at her with a wine opener. She escaped that hotel room, only to be met with more rage later that day. On another occasion, Cassie secretly attended a party at Prince's house. She testified that Combs burst into the room at her hotel afterward and beat me up in that room, hurling luggage at her and calling her all kinds of names. She came out with bruises and swollen knots on her head. In a Los Angeles club incident, Cassie lost it and drunkenly punched Diddy after he verbally attacked her. He responded by stomping on her face inside the car. She fled, but was dragged back by his security team. "I didn't recognize myself," she said. "Just knots and bleeding and swollen everything." Her testimony included the first time he struck her. After she noticed him flirting with someone else during dinner, he hit her in the side of her head, and she fell to the floor of the car. His driver and security witnessed it, but did nothing. Jurors were shown sexually explicit images from videos taken during freak-offs. One female juror clutched her chest. A male juror quickly took his eyes off. Cassie described a time at the Cannes Film Festival where Combs kicked her off a boat in the morning, barefoot and alone, after accusing her of stealing his drugs. On the flight home, he sat beside her and played videos of the freak-offs, threatening to release them publicly. He told her he was going to embarrass her. Despite showing how uncomfortable she was, Diddy pressured her into sex clubs where she would be coerced into sexual encounters with escorts. And finally, on May 16, 2025, Cassie concluded her testimony, stating she would gladly give back the $20 million settlement if it meant never having endured a freak-off. During recross, she also confirmed she expects a $10 million payout from the Intercontinental Hotel in connection to the 2016 assault. Other witnesses backed up her story. Dawn Richard of Danity Kane testified she witnessed Diddy's attack on Cassie in 2009, and Special Agent Yasin Binda, who handled Diddy's September 2024 arrest, testified about what was found in his hotel room: baby oil, lubricant, $9,000 in cash, and 2 pink powder-filled bags, one testing positive for ketamine, the other for both ketamine and MDMA. Cassie stepped down from the stand with relief on her face because she had finally let everything out. With the court drama still going on, we don't think it's ending anytime soon, especially since the next name dropped was none other than Leonardo DiCaprio. Yes, things just got way messier. Who knows where it goes from here? But what do you think? Let us know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this breakdown, stay updated with all the twists of the Diddy drama by clicking on the subscribe button and turning on your notifications. You won't want to miss what's next.